Greetings and welcome to our virtual event for the 2021 Asian Pacific American Awards for Literature. My name is Candace Wingy Mack, and I'm the president of the Asian Pacific American Librarians Association, also known as APALA. APALA was founded 41 years ago by librarians of diverse Asian and Pacific ancestries to create an organization to address the needs of API librarians and our communities. We are thrilled to have all of you join us for our second virtual literature awards ceremony and to share our joy, excitement, and pride in honoring our winners. With the most challenging year and a half that many of us have ever experienced, coming together in connection and community is more important than ever. With the astronomical rise in anti-Asian and Pacific Islander sentiment and physical attacks, being able to gather together even virtually, to celebrate the resilience and diversity of our communities, our histories and stories, and the importance of raising our voices is deeply meaningful. Thank you for being here. As many of you know, our awards promote Asian Pacific American culture and heritage and are awarded to titles based on their literary and artistic merit. APALA members who are appointed to the Literature Award Committees devote tremendous time and energy in service of selecting the very best books in the categories of adult fiction, adult nonfiction, young adult literature, children's literature, and picture books. On behalf of the association, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to each of our volunteer committee members for their dedication and passion. The Literature Awards also owe their great success to the hard work and organizational skills of co-chairs Dora Ho, Ven Basco, and Helen Look. We truly couldn't do it without you. In closing, I want to say once more, on behalf of APALA, welcome and enjoy the awards. I promise you will be inspired.
Good afternoon. My name is Tiffany Esteban. I'm the chair of the APALA Adult Fiction Literature Award Committee, here to present the honor and winner titles for the 2021 Literature Award in the Adult Fiction category. The honor title for the 2021 Adult Fiction Award is How to Pronounce Knife by Suvankam Tamavongsa, published by Little Ronin Company. Suvankam Tamavongsa was born in the Lao refugee camp in Nong Khai, Thailand, and was raised and educated in Toronto. She is the award-winning author of 4 books of poetry, and her fiction has appeared in Harper's Magazine, Granta, the Paris Review, Plowshares, the Best American Non-Required Reading 2018, and the O. Henry Prize Stories 2019. In her lauded collection of short stories, How to Pronounce Knife, she shares brief and poignant fictional snapshots of the lives of first and second generation Laotian immigrants. These stories capture moments that shape the lives of people navigating the overlaps and gaps between communities in language, work, and relationships. She shows readers how languages connect and divide families, how hope is eroded, dismissed, clung to, or passed on to others, how generations inherit and reinterpret the worlds they travel between. It is our honor to present Suvankam Tamavongsa with the APALA Literature Honor Award for How to Pronounce Knife, a collection of sharp and affecting prose that joins the author's other award-winning work.
Hello. Thank you for shining a light on my short story collection, How to Pronounce Knife. It's such an honor to be part of this celebration. I'd like to thank my publisher at Little Brown, my editors Jean Garnett, Anita Chong, Angelique Tran Van Sang, and especially my agent Sarah Bolin. This doesn't happen without you.
The winner title for the 2021 Adult Fiction Award is How Much of These Hills is Gold, a novel by C. Pam Zhang, published by Riverhead Books. Born in Beijing, but mostly an artifact of the United States, C. Pam Zhang has lived in 13 cities across 4 countries and is still looking for home. She has been awarded support from Tin House, Bread Loaf, Aspen Words, and elsewhere, and currently lives in San Francisco. In her debut novel, How Much of These Hills is Gold, she presents a lyrical, layered portrayal of a Chinese-American family trying to survive during the California gold rush. Through the heartbreaking journeys of main characters and siblings Lucy and Sam, Zhang depicts the struggles of Chinese Americans on the West Coast that connect to concerns still felt by various AAPI communities today. The story is one of complex family dynamics, Chinese tradition, gender expression, survival, and growth, with characters who live on long after the story ends. Lucy and Sam are characters to behold, and it is hard not to worry for them as they seek a world that will take them in as they are. It is our honor to present C. Pam Jong with the APALA Literature Award for How Much of These Hills is Gold, a literary debut that is beautifully written and strong in its resonance.
For a long time, I saw my identity as a literary crutch. The heroes of American literature were white boys and white girls, and so I reproduced in my fiction the scenes of a life I myself never lived. I refused to identify my characters by their race, telling myself this meant they could possibly be read as Asian or brown or black, really as anything, a great post-racial fantasy park. I believed this was the key to slipping into the literary canon. To announce my characters as Asian, and to announce myself as an Asian American writer, was to narrow my opportunities, to ghettoize my work into something painfully niche, painfully ethnic. It has taken a lifetime to realize how wrong I was. I suspect it will be the work of the rest of my life to fully unschool myself from the whiteness of the American gaze. And in that effort, I am grateful to the readers, booksellers, and librarians who have supported this novel, who have connected so deeply with Lucy and Sam. To be Asian or Pacific American is not to be set to the margins, but to draw from a deep river of vibrancy and history and richness, a river constantly replenished as we continue to claim space for ourselves in the narrative of this country. Thank you so much for this award.
My name is Cynthia Mario Orozco, Chair of the Adult Nonfiction Committee. The 2021 Adult Nonfiction Honor title is Hollywood Chinese, the Chinese and American feature films by Arthur Dong, published by Angel City Press. Arthur Dong is an Academy Award-nominated filmmaker and Peabody and Triple Sundance Award-winning filmmaker, author, and curator whose work centers on Asian Americans. Dong's first book, Forbidden City, USA, Chinatown Nightclubs 1936 to 1970, received an American Book Award in 2015. The book Hollywood Chinese, the Chinese and American feature films by Arthur Dong is a Paramount work documenting the history of the Chinese in film, represented by Chinese, Chinese American, other Asian, and white actors. Dong provides a visually stunning work that intertwines text alongside photographs, posters, lobby cards, promotional stills, and other film memorabilia, much of it from his own personal collection of over 2,000 items. The book is thematically grouped, beginning with Hollywood's stereotypical representations of the Chinese and associated tropes, including Hollywood's idea of Chinatown, Fu Manchu, Charlie Chan, and ubiquitous yellowface. The final chapters cover the history of filmmaking by Chinese Americans as early as 1917 to present. Dong reveals that the dehumanizing depictions of the Chinese on screen inspired Chinese Americans to make their own films and tell their own stories. However, much of this film history has been lost due to the lack of film preservation. Despite this historical erasure, Dong provides a rich history of increasing contributions and achievements by Chinese Americans in film. For this award, the committee was particularly interested with the depth of research involved through meticulous archival research and firsthand interviews, inclusive of Dong's personal archive of film memorabilia. Dong not only contributes to a rich film history of Chinese and Chinese Americans, but also includes the experiences of other Asian and Asian Americans in film, and how Asianness has historically been characterized. Dong's non-traditional editorial decision to include traditional Chinese characters alongside Romanized or translated Chinese names and film titles subtly demonstrates inclusiveness, capturing rich language and meaning that simply cannot be translated or transliterated into English. Dong has truly created a beautiful homage to the film artists depicted in this work.
Hi, it's terrific to be with librarians and friends of librarians. I think the last time I formally got together with librarians was in this picture. You see back here. That was taken in the mid-1960s at Marina Junior High School in San Francisco. And that's me with the mop head haircut, checked shirt. This shows a bunch of students that love libraries and is taken at the library, and you see the librarians in the background there. And we got together as volunteers to help out during our free time, lunch periods, and after school, and just kind of did whatever needed to be done to keep the library running. My favorite job was reshelving books. And I think it's because it challenged me to really learn and understand the Dewey Decimal System and to know how books were organized in the library. So to this day, whenever I do research, I can pretty much walk into a library and feel pretty comfortable to know kind of where certain books were shelved and what sections to go to, and really learn about the topics I wanted to go in there and research. When I was researching film history, I found that while there were books, pictorial books now, not academic books, but pictorial books that showed images of certain communities, there were books about Hispanics, gays and lesbians, images of women, African Americans. There were even pictorial books about James Wong Howe, Bruce Lee, and South Pacific Islander characters, but I never found one about Chinese and Chinese Americans. So after researching and working on my documentary, How They Were Chinese, I collected a lot of material, a lot of ephemera, a lot of graphic material and imagery. And I said, well, if there's not going to be a book, I'm going to be the one to do it. And it's just a thrill that the Asian Pacific American Libraries Association has chosen to honor the effort. And I want to show you the award. And here it is for those who haven't seen one of these. And I want to show this to you. Well, I'm proud of it, but I think mostly because it acknowledges the publisher. So along the bottom of the award, you see in pretty large print, the name Angel City Press, our publishers. And this is so important because as important as it is to be writing and researching and re-editing and rewriting a book, once it's done, what do you do with it? How do you get to design and get it out there and publish and print it? And for the association to acknowledge the publisher's role in the work, I just really appreciate that. So on behalf of Angel City Press, our designer, Amy Inoue, our marketing director, Jim Schneewis, I think Schneewise, did I say that right, Jim? Our copy editor, translator, and my sister, and Lorraine Dong, and Randy Haberkamp, who wrote just a wonderful foreword, and Janet Yang, who wrote an insightful afterword, and of course, Oliver Wong, my go-to editorial consultant and all-around good guy. So I want to thank the association for honoring the book and getting some more attention to it so that the story of representation and the issue of representation goes out to a broader audience.
The Adult Nonfiction Committee has selected America for Americans, A History of Xenophobia in the United States, written by Erica Lee, published by Basic Books, an imprint of Hatchet Book Group, as the Adult Nonfiction winner. In America for Americans, A History of Xenophobia in the United States, Erica Lee provides a powerful look at the juxtaposition of the United States as being both a land of immigrants while simultaneously being plagued by its xenophobia. Lee masterfully demonstrates how xenophobia has operated and continues to operate throughout United States history as an insidious and pervasive plague on this nation. The target of its xenophobia is subjective and wavering, with exclusion targeting various groups based on their race, religion, ethnicity, and national origin. Lee provides a historical look into the xenophobia first experienced by Germans and later Irish Catholics, the exclusion of Chinese immigrants and the incarceration of both Japanese Americans and Japanese Latin Americans from 12 countries in Latin America, the deportations of Mexicans, and more contemporaneously, Islamophobia. Lee also provides much insight into the roots of xenophobia in colonization, depicting xenophobia experienced by Native Americans and inclusive of xenophobia experienced by Black Americans after slavery. For this award, the committee was especially impressed with the depth of research undertaken in this monumental masterpiece, which was particularly inclusive of multiple Asian American experiences across history that are intimately tied to the xenophobia that continues to affect all Asian and Pacific American populations today.
My name is Erica Lee, and I'm the author of America for Americans, A History of Xenophobia in the United States. I wish that we could all be together this year. I had the chance of joining you in Orlando in 2016, and I know that we're all missing a great gathering with good friends and good books. But I'm so very happy to join you for the virtual APALA Literature Award ceremony. And thank you so much for awarding America for Americans the Adult Nonfiction Award. And congratulations to all of this year's winners. This award means so much. At a time of increased anti Asian racism in our communities, the work of APALA to promote APA librarianship, to support those who serve our communities, and to honor and recognize books about Asian and Pacific Americans could not be more important. So thank you so much for this honor and for the work that APALA is doing every day.
Hi, my name is Zoe McLaughlin, and I'm the chair of the Youth Literature Committee. The 2021 Youth Literature Honor title is Displacement by Kiku Hughes, published by First Second, an imprint of Macmillan Children's Publishing Group. Kiko Hughes is a cartoonist and illustrator based in the Seattle area. Her work has been featured in Beyond Anthology Volumes 1 and 2, Shortbox No. 6, and the Alloy Anthology. She creates stories about identity, queer romance, and compassionate sci-fi. Displacement is her first graphic novel, and it is a story she's wanted to share for as long as she can remember.
Thank you so much to the Asian Pacific American Librarians Association for this incredible honor, and for all the work you're doing in uplifting our stories. The last year and a half has really highlighted the continued need for more APIA voices to be heard, as this country yet again demonstrates its deeply ingrained racism and Orientalism. I think we all know it's not enough to stop Asian hate. We have to spread Asian love, and telling the stories is such a good way of doing that. So thank you. Thank you to my mom and my sister, and to my grandmother and great-grandmother, and to all the women in my family who passed their stories down, even in the hardest times. Without them, displacement could never have been possible. And thank you to Densho and to Serve for Solidarity, and to everyone doing the work right now to dismantle systems of oppression and push back against racist fear-mongering. There's a lot of work to be done, but power comes from solidarity. So stay safe and stay strong, everyone. Thank you.
The 2021 Youth Literature Committee has selected This Light Between Us, written by Andrew Fukuda, published by Tor Teen Book, as the Youth Literature Award winner. Born in Manhattan and raised in Hong Kong, Andrew Fukuda earned a bachelor's degree in history from Cornell University and worked as a criminal prosecutor for 7 years before becoming a full-time writer. Fukuda's experience volunteering with the immigrant teen community in Manhattan's Chinatown led to the writing of Crossing, his debut novel, which was selected by American Library Association Booklist as an editor's choice, top 10 first novel, and top 10 crime novel. He currently resides on Long Island, New York, with his family. When Japanese-American Alex Mackey is 10 years old, he is matched with a pen pal from France, a Jewish girl named Charlie Levy. At first, Alex is disappointed to find out that his pen pal is a girl, but as the years pass, their correspondence continues and Charlie and Alex's friendship grows stronger. Then, when World War II breaks out, everything changes. Alex and his family are sent to a Japanese internment camp, while Charlie Levy goes into hiding to avoid Nazi capture. When Charlie's letters stop, Alex is desperate not only to defend his country, but to figure out what has happened to his closest friend across the Atlantic. Alex enlists in the army and is trained and eventually sent to Europe as a member of the 442nd Infantry Regiment. While there, Alex is not only able to fight for his country alongside fellow Asian Americans, but he is also able to finally keep a promise to Charlie and honor her life and their friendship. This Light Between Us is a wonderful coming-of-age story that allows readers a glimpse back into history during one of the world's darkest periods of conflict and prejudice. Through all the darkness, there is still a thread of hope that celebrates the amazing power of the human spirit to endure. Author Alex Fukuda brilliantly weaves together the lives of Alex and Charlie, revealing the often overlooked parallels between the Nazi concentration camps and America's Japanese internment camps. Alex and Charlie's letters bring a levity and humanity to an otherwise heavy story, and the addition of some comics illustrations helps to bring the letters and their friendship to life. This book also highlights the accomplishments and bravery of the 442nd Infantry Regiment, something that will likely be new to teens. Ultimately, This Light Between Us is a remarkable celebration of Asian American history that provides new insight into World War II and will help readers gain a greater empathy for their fellow man.
Hi, greetings from Long Island, New York. I'm so thrilled and honored to receive this award from the Asian Pacific American Librarians Association. Here's the award. Thank you so very much for this. It's such an honor. It actually means a lot to me that the award comes from librarians. When I was growing up, I was a pretty shy and introverted book lover. So libraries for me were a sanctuary. They were a place of safety and wonder. And so it feels deeply satisfying to be seen and to be recognized by you. So thank you so very much for this. Truly, it's an honor. I am so humbled. I still remember the day when This Light Between Us was born in my head. I was at Manzanar internment camp. And as I stood standing out there in the middle of nowhere, I just got this deep sense of the thousands of lives that had been put out there so many decades ago, and how their voices, because of the passage of time, these voices were fading away. And what I wanted to do in writing this book was to let their voices to be continued to be heard, that they would not disappear. And so with this award, I feel that you have allowed their voices to be heard that much more. And I do want to thank you so very much for that, because their voices certainly deserve to be heard.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lana Idlaw, and I'm the chair of the Children's Literature Committee. The 2021 Children's Literature Honor title is Prairie Lotus by Linda Sue Park, published by Clarion Books, an imprint of Houghton Mifflin Harcourt Books for Young Readers, a division of Houghton Mifflin Harcourt. Linda Sue Park is the author of Newbery Medal winner A Single Shard and best-selling novel A Long Walk to Water, along with numerous other novels and picture books. Ms. Park has been a gymnast, a food journalist, an advertising copywriter, an ESL teacher, and now writes full-time. As an advisory board member of We Need Diverse Books and a board member of the Society of Children's Books Writers and Illustrators, she is a well-known advocate for diversity, inclusiveness, and reading. She lives in Rochester, New York with her family and has traveled to such far-flung destinations as Brazil, Dubai, and the Galapagos to talk about her books. Linda Sue Park's Prairie Lotus follows a biracial girl living in 1800s Dakota Territory. Hannah and her father moved to the Dakota Territory after the death of her mother. Her father has plans to open a dry goods store, and Hannah wants to finish her schooling and be a dress seamstress for her father's store. However, Hannah is half Chinese, and the town is unwelcoming and even hostile to her. They pull their children out of school and boycott her father's store. Hannah fights to overcome the town's prejudices and even her father's tight protection to gain what she truly wants more than anything else, friendship and acceptance. Hannah, an empathetic and dignified girl, is true to the setting of this novel, but also relevant and relatable to the modern young reader. Fans of the Little House series would enjoy reading about the details of a frontier setting, while at the same time gaining perspective of a white settler town through Hannah's experiences with xenophobia and her interactions with the nearby Nhangtunwan community. The committee appreciates that Prairie Lotus brings to light marginalized voices in a familiar, iconic setting, and that the authors are attempting to reconcile a love for canonized books in children's literature while acknowledging their shortcomings.
Hi, I'm delighted and honored to accept this award. I'd like to thank the committee for all their hard work and for coming up with such a wonderful list. Congratulations to the other creators whose books were named. Prairie Lotus is truly a book of my heart. It's a book that I started writing when I was a child. It's a book that took more than 50 years to write altogether. So to have it named as an honor book by the APALA is truly meaningful to me. And I'd like to express my appreciation for readers everywhere, and creators and librarians and teachers and educators who share these books and who help spread the word about what it means to be Asian, and especially these days, what it means to be Asian American. Thank you again, and happy reading to everyone.
The 2021 Children's Literature Committee has selected When You Trap a Tiger, written by Tay Keller, published by Random House Children's Books for Young Readers, an imprint of Random House Children's Books, a division of Penguin Random House, as the Children's Literature Award winner. Tay Keller was born and raised in Honolulu, where she grew up on purple rice, spam musubi, and her Halmoni's tiger stories. After high school, she moved in search of snow, and now she lives in New York City. She's also the author of The Science of Breakable Things. What do you do when you meet a mythical tiger? In When You Trap a Tiger, Lily, her sister, and her mother moved from California to a small town in Washington to live with her Korean grandmother, Halmoni. Once there, she begins to see a giant tiger, just like the ones from her Halmoni's stories, and its appearance seems to coincide with her grandmother's becoming ill. In an attempt to save her Halmoni's health, Lily first tries to trap, then make a deal with the tiger for the stories that her grandmother stole long ago. In the process, Lily learns more about her family's history and undergoes a journey of self-discovery that allows her to find her own voice and courage. Inspired by the tales that her own Halmoni told her as a child, author Tay Keller tells a magical story that weaves Korean folklore and the contemporary lives of 3 generations of Korean Americans. She highlights their strength and resilience, as well as the strong bonds of family, sisterhood, love, and friendship. She also demonstrates the power of stories to bring healing and acceptance, wrapping serious topics such as grief, loss, and change in a mysterious and wondrous package. As the chair of the Children's Literature Committee, I want to thank all the committee members for their hard work, and a big congratulations to Linda and Tay.
Hi, I want to say thank you so very, very much for this award. In When You Trap a Tiger, Lily calls herself a quiet Asian girl and says that she feels invisible. For much of my life, I have felt the same way. So receiving an award that says, I see you as a writer, as a person, as a member of the Asian American community, it means so much. This past year has been a painful one in our community. Not only have we had the pandemic, but we have also had the rise in violence and hate crimes. But we are not invisible. Our stories matter. Our experiences matter. We matter. So thank you to the other Asian American writers and artists who are sharing their stories and showing the world that the Asian and Pacific American experience is wide-ranging and varied. And thank you to the librarians who are celebrating these stories and supporting them. I am so honored to receive this award, and I am so honored to be part of this community. Thank you.
My name is Hannah Lee Park, and I am the chair of the 2021 Picture Books Committee. The 2021 Picture Books honor title is Tanbi Leads the School Parade, written and illustrated by Anna Kim, and published by Viking Children's Books, an imprint of Penguin Random House. Anna Kim immigrated to the United States from South Korea when she was a child, just like Tanbi. She grew up doodling around the edges of her notebooks and on any loose scraps of paper she could find. During her years of teaching music to children, she discovered that drawing stories on sticky notes worked magic for kids who couldn't sit still. Anna lives in New York City, in a home full of sticky notes. Writing from her own experience of coming to the United States from South Korea as a child, Kim presents a lighthearted story of a girl starting a new school in America. It conveys with delightful prose and illustrations the experiences of both being a new girl and immigrant, trying to fit in with peers, isolation, and culture shock. When things feel hopeless, the story turns around for the better. Instead of trying to seek acceptance through the games of her peers, Tanbi creates her own fun. This opens a new world for Tanbi, where she goes from trying to follow other children's leads to becoming the lead. A friendship blossoms as a result. Kim's integration of important social issues is vivid and relatable across cultures. She gives insight into the pressures faced by immigrant children in school, while also providing a story where a girl learns to become comfortable in her own skin, an empowering example for children new to school, no matter their place of origin.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Asian Pacific American Library Association, for this amazing honor for Tanbi Leads the School Parade. Tanbi was a labor of love, and I poured over every child in the book, hoping that young readers of all different races and cultural backgrounds feel what Tanbi was going through on her first day of school in America. Tanbi may have started as a 3/4-inch scribble, but it took a village to bring her to life and in the hands of children. I'd like to thank 2021 APALA Award Committee, Asian Pacific American Library Association members, and all librarians for your tireless work and commitment to bring literature to children. I want to also thank Ken Wright, my publisher at Viking Books, Tema Bresis, my wonderful editor, as well as Joanna Cardenas, Denise Cronin, Nancy Brennan, Penguin Marketing Teams, and my agent Steve Moak. All of you saw Tanbi as a child who needed a home, and you made her journey possible. Thank you, APALA, for this honor and giving Tanbi a shine. She belongs to you and to all the children in our lives. Thank you.
The 2021 Picture Books Award winner is Paper Sun, the inspiring story of Tyrus Wong, immigrant and artist, written by Julie Liang and illustrated by Chris Sasaki, published by Schwartz & Wade, an imprint of Random House Children's Books, a division of Penguin Random House. Julie Liang is the author of the Mice of the Round Table trilogy. This is her first picture book. She was inspired to tell Tyrus' story after learning about his incredible journey of immigrating from China to the United States. She believes that celebrating such stories is important now more than ever. Originally from Atlanta, she lives in New York City, where she works as a marketing director in book publishing. Chris Sasaki is an artist who has worked in both animation and illustration. Chris is a former character designer and illustrator for Pixar Animation Studios, where he designed characters for Monsters University and Inside Out. Chris has also worked for such animation studios as Jim Henson, Laika, and Tonko House. He lives in Oakland, California. This beautifully illustrated and well-researched picture book biography highlights the life of Tyrus Wong, a relatively unknown Chinese-American artist. The book begins with Wong's journey to America as a young boy with his father, who believed that life in America could be like a blank paper. Eventually, Wong's hard work and love of art led him to a job in the animation department at Walt Disney Studios, where his paintings that melded Eastern and Western art principles caught the eye of Walt Disney. Despite his significant influence on the visual style of the classic film Bambi, Wong was only credited as a background artist. Sasaki's illustrations evoke Wong's brush paintings and is a lovely tribute to the overlooked artist. Liang's writing is poetic and conveys Wong's story concisely and effectively. The text delves into historical topics like the Chinese Exclusion Act and the paper sons and daughters that resulted from this, which can lead to conversations regarding such immigration policies. Liang and Sasaki have crafted an inspiring story and a reminder of the many unrecognized yet impactful contributions of immigrants in American society.
Hi, this is Julie Long, author of Paper Sun, The Inspiring Story of Tyrus Wong, Immigrant and Artist. I am floored by this honor. Thank you to the Asian Pacific American Library Association and the American Library Association. To win the approval of librarians is probably the coolest thing that has ever happened to me. I wanted to thank the Wong family for opening their lives and entrusting Tyrus's story to me, my Wonder agent, Wendy Gu, who signed me years ago on Potential alone, my incredible editor, Ann Schwartz at Random House Children's Books, and to the brilliant illustrator, Chris Sasaki, for imbuing my words with pure visual poetry. Paper Sun is a story about one man's incredible life and art. It's also a sad refrain of America's worst xenophobia being repeated again at this very moment. We look at the Chinese Exclusion Act now with shame. We memorialize the disconnected, broken lives left in its wake. But at this moment, there are detained children, not unlike Tyrus, waiting to be reunited with their families, waiting to rewrite their fates on a blank piece of paper. A political leader once said that the other countries were not sending their best when it came to immigrants. Because of the Chinese Exclusion Act, Tyrus Wong and his father assumed fake identities to pass immigration. They pretended to be a merchant with a son, because in truth, they were not China's best. They were America's best. Paper Sun is dedicated to my parents, who immigrated to the United States in the late 70s after enduring China's Cultural Revolution. They came from a village only 40 miles from where Tyrus Wong and his father lived. With grade school education, they worked in restaurants, never failing to remind me of why we were here. To thrive despite obstacles, to seek opportunity, and to rewrite our fates in a new land. We were not China's best either. We are the best of America. And there are so many waiting to be the best of America too. Thank you for this award.
Hello, I'm Chris Sasaki. Thank you so much for this. This is so cool. There's lots of people to thank. I'd like to thank the Asian Pacific American Library Association and the American Library Association for honoring our Paper Sun team this prestigious award. You know, looking back to my childhood, I really can't remember many picture books that represented families like mine. So I'm really grateful to have played some small part in creating a picture book that my childhood self would have loved to see. Tyrus Wong's remarkable and brave journey as an artist spotlights a new hero for us to look up to, and hopefully a light for others in the dark climate that we're living through today. A big thank you to our editor, Ann Schwartz, and our art director, Rachel Cole, and everyone at Random House, Schwartz and Wade team for championing a book with new perspectives on the human experience for classrooms and people around the world. Thank you to my wonderful agent, Kirsten Hall, for all your support in finding this perfect manuscript. And of course, thank you to our talented writer, Julie Leung, for your beautiful words, honoring Tyrus Wong's timely story, and your continuous pursuit spotlighting more Asian American stories for future generations to celebrate. And finally, to the Wong family, for your stories, for welcoming me into your circle, for offering up their trust to paint Tyrus's story, and for your warm embrace, reconnecting me to my own Asian American pride. Thank you for this.